I'll be the first to admit, I got cosmetic surgery to keep a man. If your goal is to try to satisfy the male ego, please stop. It's literally impossible.
We gonna keep it a band, bro. When you in a relationship, yeah, her body is your body and your body is her body.
So because we're in a relationship, she owes me her body? Absolutely not. That is mentality.
It is the habit of the culture of the world to put women in their place by attacking their physical.
Whenever I hear men talking about stuff like a woman's like appearance or women's appearance in general, like it could be either way, but like, you know, trying to attack a woman's, you know, like look or whatever the case may be, or women's look, I automatically know they're, you know, like they're essentially just trying to manipulate women. That's basically where I'm at with it. As I've gotten older, I could crash out with the best of them. I do what I like to call controlled crash outs. I don't, you know, to a certain extent, you know, as a man, let me put it like this. I'm very careful in the things that I say about women. Like I am talking about their bodies and stuff like that. I'm like very careful. I'm not really into that like I used to. I'll be more like I might talk about your head shape or something. You know what I mean? Like, but like talking about a woman's like body and trying to shame her for her body, like I'm not into that. Because it's so deeply rooted in misogyny and politics, you know, and how we try to govern women's bodies and whatnot. And I see it now. I see how it's like a continuous, you know, it's like a line or whatever. It's all linked. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do that, and I don't want to normalize it. I don't, especially like publicly. Like I don't want to be on a public platform, you know, talking about women's bodies, and then having other men be like, oh, it's okay because he's just another man. Every time a man gets mad at a woman, he's gonna talk about her body, talk about her looks. I don't like doing that. I don't like using the stereotypes against women to troll them, talk, you know, calling women single mothers and oh, you're a single mother. Where your husband at? Like as a way to shame her. I'm not gonna do that. Right? Like if she doesn't have a husband, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I say all of that to say men use all of these tactics as a way to control women, and I can see it as clear as day.
I'll be the first to admit, I got cosmetic surgery to keep a man. So I'm gonna do a quick story time of why I got cosmetic surgery in order to keep my husband. So when I first got married, I thought that I was my husband's type. I thought that he was attracted to me because he said he was. But throughout our marriage, he would always tell me how he was attracted to BBW women, more full-figured, voluptuous women. I was pretty young, so I didn't really realize that he was kind of grooming me to get comfortable with the idea of him talking about other women, which later led to him asking if we wanted to be poly. He would send me a lot of different pictures on Instagram of different Instagram models who had BBLs, who had their butts really big, and he would say things like, you will look so good like this. Something in my spirit didn't feel well when he used to send me these things, but I wanted to just go along with it, you know, be the cool wife. He would give these backhanded compliments like, you are my dream woman, you look so good, but imagine if you got this surgery done to your butt. He would say it so often that I began to believe that I needed it. And I would also start looking at these other women's like, okay, this is my husband's type. This is who I'm gonna be with forever. I might as well give him what he wants. I was programmed to believe that because I was married, I had to give him what he wanted. So I convinced myself that I actually wanted the surgery for myself. I started looking in the mirror like, wow, April, yes, you'll look so good if your stomach was much flatter and your butt was wider and if you finally had some hips. The brainwashing was real. I began to become really consumed by the thoughts of getting this surgery in order to please him. So I went ahead and did it. He was happy with the results, but that didn't stop there. My BBL surgery was the worst pain I've ever endured. It was actually worse than all 3 of my labors with my children. He did not care. Even though he waited on me hand and foot and he saw how much pain I was in every day, He proceeded to ask me the very first week of recovery, will I be willing to go through a round 2? Meaning, take more fat out and transfer it again before I'm even done healing. And here I am, 1 week in recovery, wondering about getting a second round BBL just to keep him happy. There is much more to this story that I can add, so let me know if you want a part 2. But I came on here to say that if your goal is to try to satisfy the male ego, please stop. It's literally impossible. I am not saying that I am against plastic surgery. I'm just simply saying never get it to satisfy the male ego because it is impossible. I've been so hesitant about making this video because obviously it's super vulnerable, but someone needed to hear this. I just want to reassure you that your husband, your soulmate, your divine masculine that God has made for you, he would never ask you to change anything about yourself. If you decide to change anything about your physical appearance, he will support you, yes, but he would never make it seem like it's an absolute necessity. Don't let yourself be persuaded like I did, because if this was my decision, my surgery would have probably came out much better. I would have went to the doctor I actually wanted to. I would have spent more time doing more research. I would have healed properly because I would have got all the massages I was supposed to get. My healing process has not been the best. And I know it's because this was totally out of alignment with who I really am. So I'm not against plastic surgery. There's work that I'll still do, but make sure you're doing it for you.
The first question I want to ask is I hope at the very least, did he pay for it? Because to ask that is crazy, right? But then to ask that is crazy, but then to like not even pay for it is wicked. And don't put it on that with whatever the urgent, what's the credit cards, the whatever care credit cards that they got for the plastic surgery. Not that either, nigga, cash money. The least you could do is pay for it if you're gonna ask her to get it, but y'all, you probably didn't even pay for it. But yeah, so this whole thing, I mean, this is what men do. This is what a lot of men do. They try to manipulate women. They use their insecurities against them. They use the societal pressures and beauty standards against women to manipulate them. And it's a gradient. It's in a pipeline. It's not black and white. You know what I'm saying? It's like when people say if you would lie, you would cheat. If you would cheat, you would steal. If you would steal, you would kill. Like, it's all in the same vein. You know what I mean? If you would ask a woman to get plastic surgery, then you would, maybe you might. I would get into that, but there's some other things there. It's in the vein. It's in the same vein as a lot of other stuff for sure. A lot of women, most women, I'm saying, don't get plastic surgery for men, but I don't care if a woman does get plastic surgery for a man. You know what I mean? I'm sure in the comment section, I didn't get to check the comment section on this one. There was some time constraints, but I'm sure they was in there like, oh, see, women do get plastic surgery for men. I thought y'all don't get it for a man. It's like, yeah, most women don't get it for a man or whatever the case may be, but so what? I don't care. I don't care if a woman gets plastic surgery for a man. I'm definitely judging a man, though, for putting pressure on a woman to get plastic surgery or making a woman feel insecure in a relationship, and her feeling so insecure that she feels compelled to get plastic surgery to keep him or to keep his attention or whatever the case may be. I'm definitely judging that man 100%. So this is another example of how women risk their lives for men, because I hear all the time how men be like, I got to risk my life for women. I'm going to have to risk my life for a woman, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, when are you going to be asked to risk your life for a woman in a relationship? Like, that is so uncommon. Damn near is never going to happen. 99% of men are never going to have to risk their lives for their women or children, right? But women risk their lives in so many ways. Taking birth control is one way women risk their lives, because you can die of a stroke taking birth control. Also, just your health in general, which could lead to, if your health is bad for whatever reason, that can contribute to other factors and lead to, like that literally could cut your life short. Like, how I know they used to do that thing with like cigarettes. It was like for every cigarette you smoke, it cuts 3 days off your life or whatever. I bet you can do that with birth control. For every day you're on birth control, it cuts 73 hours off of your life or some shit like that. I'm sure. Women giving birth to children, risking their lives. And like this, women having surgeries, risking their lives. Like women risk their lives all the time for women. I mean, for men, all the time. Like it is like a very consistent theme in a relationship. Men need to stop lying about that shit. Now, all of this is tied to male entitlement. All of this is. And men use beauty standards that men created they weaponize that to manipulate women, right? And to subjugate women. But this is like where this comes from, right? This is like one of the places it comes from. When you listen to how men view women in this way, then you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm sure that these are the same types of men. The husband that asks that woman to get a BBL is the same type of man that thinks like this about a woman's body.
I just saw this girl talking about she just found out what bodily autonomy is, right? And then she proceeds to go on a rant about, husbands and dudes coming up behind a girl in the kitchen and grabbing a shit and some more shit. If we're gonna keep it a band, bro, when you in a relationship, yeah, motherfucker, her body is your body and your body is her body.
Absolutely the fuck not. Absolutely the fuck not. And this is why that's such bullshit too. Because if that's the case, then why do men go out and cheat on women then? If your body is her body, then how is it somebody else's body? How are you giving it to somebody else? Right? So stop that shit. Men don't, that's sick. First, like on so many levels, that's sick, but it goes against the way that men treat women the majority of the time. You don't actually believe that. You want to control her body. My body is my body because this is the only body that I have. I can get another wife. My wife can get another husband, or we can have nobody. We can end up single in the next 2 years, in the next 2 months, in the next 3 years, whatever, right? And I'm still gonna be with this one body. So hell no, her body ain't my body. What the fuck is you talking about? Now, if that woman and that man agrees on this dynamic, then so be it. Then so be it. If your woman is like, I love when my man grabs me and gropes me and grabs my butt and grabs my breasts and kisses me and all of that stuff. There are a lot of women, there are a ton of women who like that. They sign up for that. They tell the man, yes, do that anytime you want, right? That's autonomy. She's telling you she wants that interaction. She wants that contact. But then there are women who don't like that. There are women who don't like to be touched unless they say, touch me. And they should have that right. And the only expectation or whatever the case may be in this case is that you guys are in a fucking relationship. Fuck out of here. So because we're in a relationship, she owes me her body? Absolutely not. That is rape mentality. That is rape culture. That is 100% rape culture, what he's talking about. That's why up until 1993, it was legally okay for a husband to rape his wife. It wasn't considered rape.
And your body is her body. That's just how it goes. And my thing is, why be with somebody if you don't want them touching you randomly, feeling, having you feel good, feel wanted, and all of this type of shit that y'all be complaining about. But then when the nigga do it, now it's a problem. Now
I ain't never heard a woman complaining about her man touching her. Like saying like, my man don't touch me. Like, I won't say never, but that's not a common complaint. Like usually is he always just want to sleep with me, but he don't ever want to connect with me in a non-physical way. Men are physical. Men love touching women and grabbing women and groping women and fucking women and whatever. We don't connect in a more intimate way outside of, the physical way. That's usually what women are talking about. So what the hell are you talking about?
I was like, oh, I don't even have control over my own body. Oh, he just wanted all the time. Oh, no shit. The nigga love you and he attracted to you. Man, y'all be doing too much of that goddamn moaning and groaning and crying and complaining and shit, bro. Just appreciate that you got a nigga that wants you. Damn, y'all get on this app saying anything.
Yeah, that's not what it is. If a man really loved a woman, he would respect her body. It's the opposite of that. He don't really love her. He wants to control her. He wants to control her. Absolutely. And this is the on a larger scale, when you pull back on a larger scale, this is what that looks like. This is where we learn this ideology from.
People want to control women. The first thing they do is go after our beauty.
Yes,
Yeah.
the way we look.
The way
Of
we
course.
look.
Yep.
And that's true across the board, across the political aisle. Women feeling like they have to show up in this one Barbie doll kind of image to afford being attacked. This happens to young actresses, young women on social media. It is the habit of the culture of the world to put women in their place by attacking their physical.
And let me tell you why this is a thing. So that way, when you come across it as a woman, it is inevitable that you will come across this anytime you dare to be seen or heard. And when that happens, you will then have the power to understand what is happening, the power to reframe it, and then you will be exhibiting the highest form of intelligence, which is metacognition. Metacognition is the ability to see the thought patterns, see our own habitual patterns in real time and choose to edit them, to respond with how we want to rather than react with what we need to. And let me set the foundation that men do not attack women that they believe are beneath them. So even if this is hierarchical type of functioning, they are still only attacking a woman because they are witnessing a mirror into the power and authority that they do not have. So every woman needs to understand, when there is a man that is degrading you in your comment section, in real life, even on the road with one of these, it is because you are holding the power and authority that they wish to embody. But instead of looking at that as an opportunity to grow, they are, as I will describe, emotionally regressed to the point where they are expressing their highest level. And their highest level is, well, below the age of 12. So
That's absolutely right. And that's what the first guy was, the husband. That's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. And you see where it was leading to. It was like, oh, you should get a BBL. And then it was like, oh, also, are you into polygyny? What do you feel about me having a bunch of different women, but you can't have any men? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
At this lower level of emotional functioning, and remember, emotional functioning and age are not congruent. Everyone ages. Most people don't grow up, unfortunately. If it was true, we would have a different world. But what we can see in the world is, regardless of aging, regardless of progression, people are still functioning from trauma states where they normalize it and then call it culture. Anyway, another TED Talk. So at this lower level of emotional functioning, the brain is coming from the primal brain. The primal brain is wired for control, dominance, and tribal survival. Basically, it's registering everything as a threat onto itself, right?
And that's what she's talking about. To when I hear that, is like, that is like the baser nature of people. And that's how people get manipulated, because somebody knows how to tap into your baser nature. And it's a very powerful thing, because it's a survival mechanism. That's like how people pander to people and all of that stuff. And you're like, how can you get people to like trick them like that? People would be seemingly more intelligent because they have tapped in to a group of people's baser nature, or an individual's baser nature.
Even if there isn't, it's a perceived threat, not a real threat. So during development, this is usually where shame is introduced, even with well-intended parents, where a parent can want to tell the child that they did something wrong, but depending on the sensitivity of the child, depending on the severity of the reaction, depending on many factors, the child can interpret that as I am wrong. So shame is not you did something, shame is I am. So it's not I did something bad, it's I am bad. I am not enough, which is always the nucleus of all variations of mental illness, of mental difficulties, and even substance abuse, which is shame-based. So then, if somebody doesn't emotionally develop that, shame becomes a weapon. And why? Because shame is the fastest way to gain power without having to earn it. So then you have these emotionally stunted individuals that come across a woman in her own power, and they will deem that a threat they can't control. And then they will utilize shame as a weapon to get her to shrink to a level that makes them feel safe again. And the reason why beauty is so easy to access is, number one, it's a system of control that are given to women from utero. But number two, because your beauty, even if it's conformity and Barbie standard or it's authenticity in your own variance, beauty is a standard to your own sovereignty and vitality. So if we attack that, then we shut you down to abandon yourself in order to appease me. Whereas in higher levels of emotional development, and by this I mean emotionally developed above the age of 25, not chronologically, you're going to have individuals that have increased emotional regulation and ability to respond rather than react. You're going to have empathy. So when there are individuals or parties that talk about empathy in a bad way, you are merely witnessing an emotionally stunted individual below a 12-year-old adolescent level.
I think I did a whole video on this a while ago, but like I don't think most men have developed past the age of 12. I think most men are trapped around before the age of 12. If you look up cognitively where we should be, and basically after the age of 12 is when you develop like self-awareness, pretty much. You could I don't know how to say it, but like, yeah, it seems like that's when men stop developing around the age of 12. And I know that too, because when I talk to men, oftentimes when I talk to like even men like my age, or especially men my age, a lot of the conversations sound exactly like how they sounded when we were in high school, like at the same base level. And I'm just like, I've been talking. I remember like not talking to a group of friends for like fucking like 20 years. Then we got in a group chat together and we were talking. And that was one of my first, that was one of the first things that I noticed. I was like, damn, y'all talk just like how we talked when we were 16. I couldn't believe it because I was like, I don't talk like this anymore. This is crazy. But it was odd. I should have got out of that group chat then. I stayed in there for another like 4 years and put up with a ton of abuse. But yeah, never mind.
Period. There's no way to try to circumvent it. Okay. But you will also then have more deeper self-worth without the need of self-validation. They will absolutely own and be grateful for a compliment, but they understand that they don't need to attack beauty. They can celebrate beauty because they belong to themselves rather than belonging to you.
I couldn't have said it better myself. She's spot on. And men need to understand that we need to grow. This is unacceptable behavior, like trying to manipulate women, through beauty standards and things of that nature, talking about how a woman dresses, makeup, like all that type of weird shit. Men do all of that stuff. All of that. Like, oh, she got on makeup. And here's the thing. And one last thing I thought about this about with the whole makeup thing, right? So the same men that say that women look better without makeup are the same men that will shame a woman for having makeup on. Like they'll be like, take that makeup off. I bet you don't look good underneath that makeup. So I'm like, wait. So you do think they look better with makeup on because you're saying if she takes it off, she's going to be unattractive. But then you're the same man that's like, take all that makeup off. Men don't like that shit. Interesting. It's almost like you guys just use whatever, you know what I'm saying? Either one of those scenarios, either one of those talking points to manipulate women when it's convenient, right? If you want to shame a woman, then it's take off that makeup. I bet you look ugly underneath that. And then when you want to appeal to women, it's, men don't really like women with all that makeup on. Ain't that something?